FBA fees climbing, I'm losing my grip. Storage costs rising, they'll never let me skip. Refunds I'm eating, returns pile up too. Oh, Amazon, what else will you do? I look at my dashboard, my profits erased. My margins are gone, it's a slap in the face. Prime Day's a promise, but it's such a race. How much will I make if I'm replaced? It's a cruel, cruel number. Fees keep climbing, profits torn asunder. Oh, it's cruel, the sellers wonder how to survive when the margins go under. It's a cruel, cruel number. Every month it's something new to plunder. Oh, it's cruel, it's no wonder we're stuck in this game. The algorithm's thunder.
Yo, Amazon's back, and they got a new scheme. Reimbursement slashed, it's every seller's dream. They're digging deep, taking more from the pot. Let's break it all down, expose what they got. March 25, it's a policy drop. They say manufacturing costs, but we know it's a flop. Give us your cogs, they're demanding the price. But if you don't, they'll estimate nice. Nice for them, not for you. Watch a payout shrink. That comprehensive evil is a corporate wing. Lost in the warehouse, damaged on the floor. Now they pay you pennies, not a cent more. Fees on the rise, profits on the run. They don't lift a finger, but they pocket the fun. We're fair! They shout while they cut our shares. Amazon math, man, it's full of errors. Fees, taking our dough. They're stacking the deck, and it's sellers who owe. Reimbursements? Nah, they're taking us down, but we're still here, we don't mess around. Fees, straight to the top. Amazon's game, it'll never stop. Margins tight, but we keep the grind. Sellers unite, we're one of a kind.
I try to sell my product on Amazon, thought it'd be a breeze. But little did I know I'd be stuck with seller support disease. They never seem to solve my problems, just give me the run around. I'm tired of waiting on hold. My patience is wearing thin, I'll never be found. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck. Can't get no satisfaction. I'm out of luck, out of luck, out of luck. You don't care about my business, just trying to make a buck. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck.
This one's for the sellers on the grind, getting left on red, wasting all their time. I hit up support, got an auto reply. Thanks for your patience, man, I wanna cry. Inventory lost, my margins are toast. The reps playing tag like the Casper the Ghost. They pass me around, it's a never-ending game. Nobody takes action, everybody shifts blame. My ASINs down, I'm out of the race. They say they'll escalate, yo, what a disgrace. Amazon seller support, you're breaking my heart. No answers, no fixes, just tearing me apart. Hours in the queue, stuck in the dark. Amazon seller support, you're missing the mark.
Amazon game plan, that is the key. Seller central dashboard, that's where I be. Analyze the funnel, see what we lack, then we optimize. Sellers know it's a fact. I get it poppin', you know that it's lit. Climbing the rankings, ain't no room to quit. I check the data, they notice the stats. I keep the method, that's how you adapt. Metrics are showing, you know it's our cap. Amazon sellers, it's time to react. I'm about that action, I do this with passion. I got them like, whoa, what is this? Huh, whoa.
I don't know, dude. I think everybody's just buying stuff based on reviews and badges or whatever. They don't even know who we are. These customers don't even know the name of my brand. But they keep clicking add to cart like it's part of the plan. They see that Amazon badge and think it's all grand. But yo, they don't even know the name of my brand.
Click, scroll, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Blue tiles, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell a day. Now listen up, I'm Steven Pope. Amazon Amazon guru, I'll help you cope. Step 1, get that trademark stamped. Without brand registry, your Amazon cramped. Head to Seller Central, log in quick. Manage stores tab, yeah, that's the trick. Upload your logo, flex that style. You're about to make Jeff Bezos smile. Where pick a template, marquee or grid. Drop your tiles like a branding whiz. Hero image, big and bold. This store's gonna glitter like digital gold. Scroll, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Blue tiles, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell today. Yo. In the trenches of the Amazon game, trying to survive while it's driving me insane. Nobody warns you, they just claim it's passive income. Nah, it's pain. I'm sitting at a birthday, laughing, chilling, next to a newbie Amazon seller spilling. She's like, Prime so smooth, it's a killer. Then try to sell, now she's stuck in a thriller. Finding products, yeah, that's the first grind. Scrolling Alibaba, losing my mind. Sample suck, manufacturers decline. I'm like, dang, how's anyone doing this fine? Ship it in, pay for the bubble wrap, but they ship glass bottles in padded crap. Now I got hot sauce leaks, refund stack, customers pissed. Man, I'm under attack. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat. Trademark wars, brand registry's a scam. They banned my brand, now I'm in a jam. Listings yanked, products ranked and tanked. Lost dogs in the catalog, my account shanked. Now let's talk ads, it's a rabbit hole. 1,000 hours deep, man, it's taking my soul. Weekly negations, bulk sheets for control. Excel's my new weapon, but it's taking its toll. SEO's no joke, keywords in the game. Alt text, A+ content, playing insane. Lifestyle shots, avatars for fame, but the CTR's low. All products look the same. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, from SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat.
Let's go to Mac School. To Mac School. Class is now in session with Professor Pope.
They got the SOP, cause Professor Pope wrote the recipe. Helping Amazon sellers grow sales exponentially. Amazon's a jungle, but we map the strategy. Brand strategist playbook, it's a guide to victory. Troubleshooting catalog, you know we got the answer key. Boosting all your rankings, turning sales into a legacy. SOB so deep, you'd think we studied at Mac School. Every step we follow leads to growth, yeah, it's a golden loop. Stuck on keywords, we'll find the ones that work the best. Using Helium-10, strike distance keywords pass the test. Incremental indexing ensures the listing set to rise. From the back end to the bullets, optimization hits the skies. Brand store creation, yeah, we make it shine and flow. A+ content design makes conversions overflow. Need your images on point, best practices in the plan. Alt text and photo rules ensure your visuals command. SEO meets PPC, it's balanced, every step aligned. We'll construct the MKLs that drive rankings over time. Budget caps and bid adjustments, no more wasted spending. Segmentation builds campaigns that sellers can defend. Got a hijacker, no problem, we'll file to take them down. Review requests in action, 5-star ratings come around. Flat file updates, market share reports, it's all in reach. Professor Pope wrote the SOP so sellers learn and teach.
Meanwhile, my Amazon guys on the case, fixing up my problems at lightning pace. Ticket escalations, Mag's the boss. Even Amazon says we'll take the loss. Seller support don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. They're supposed to be the pros, but they can't decode policies and tools from their own damn road. I'm paying fees, yet they bring me stress. But Mag turns my chaos into pure success. Seller support reps, they throwing shade, but then admit, yo, Mag will get you paid. Third-party agency taking the throne while Amazon fumbles in their own damn zone. Seller support don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. So here's the truth. Let's keep it real. Mag's the team with the pro-level skill. Amazon sellers, you know the vibe when support says call Mag. They'll give you peace of mind. Amazon seller support, you can suck my image stack. Sucking is all you're good at anyway. Bezos, hit me up if you want to sell seller support. I'm buying. There's a chase. Peace.
Hello and welcome to the My Amazon Guy Friday live Q&A. My name is Noah Wickham. I'm sales director here at My Amazon Guy, and I'm here to answer any and all of your questions. And I am never going to get old of all of that music that we create with AI and whatnot. So that being said, if you haven't checked out, head on over myamazonguy.com/music, I think, and you can listen to the entire thing on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music. So all being said, today we're going to do something a little different than normal Friday live Q&A. So today we are going to focus a little bit more on the idea of tariffs. It's top of mind, I think, for everyone still. It's the biggest news, in my opinion, in the kind of e-commerce space in general in, I don't know, years, realistically. And so I want to talk about that a little bit today. I have a weird thing going on with my beard today. I should have trimmed it up, but whatever, I suppose. We will get to everyone's questions regardless. And if you guys haven't noticed, we're doing it a little bit earlier this week. And that's because we have another show going on later today at 1 p.m. Eastern. For those that are unaware, it is the wrap up of our 5-day challenge. The last 4 days, I have essentially gone through every single day and done PPC, SEO, catalog, design, and walked through, gave everyone homework. Today is the wrap up. I will not be on the wrap up today. That being said, feel free to go over there. If you just go over to our website, yeah, there you go. Register for the 5-day challenge right there. It's in the comments, and yeah, we will go from there. So, all right, let's get right into the questions today. We first off have Abdullah. I am full-time Amazon PPC expert. Should I go with Google Ads or new skill due to tariffs, or can I wait? First and foremost, you should always be trying to upgrade as many skills as you can, especially in the e-commerce space. It is never a bad thing to know something going on burp-wise. It's because I'm drinking this thing and I had a Celsius earlier, so apologies. But it's never a bad thing to upgrade your skills. You should always, if you're an Amazon PPC expert, you should try and, yes, branch out into Google, into Meta, things like that. It's always good to have versatility within your skill set. That being said, should you do it specifically because of tariffs? No. I'm the type of person, I like to essentially, Stephen Pope, our founder, has a great saying, dig a 1-inch hole 1 mile deep and then move on to the next hole. So if you are not an expert within your Amazon PPC, become an absolute expert there first before you try and jump to something else. Thomas, I know. I hope you're doing great. I am. The only thing, it's thundering and raining right now here in Michigan. So it is what it is, I suppose. I'm going to be launching a wooden baby high chair this weekend. First, I wanted to sell the 300 units I have on Amazon at low to zero profit so I could rank quickly. And then on the second stock start, but now with all the tariffs, I think it's almost impossible to reorder stock for a second time. I believe the most logical thing to do now is to sell at a profit to recover my investment and make some money. I have 300 units in stock. My cost of goods is $70. Ooh, that's really high. And my chair is a premium product. I also have good video ads ready. What would your recommendation to get some profit? Also, how many ad campaigns should I launch for my product, and how many keywords should I include per campaign? Thank you so much for taking time to answer me, and sorry for my English. I'm from Colombia. You know, I was actually in Colombia just last year. I went in July, August, and I did the Lost City trek. If you go and check out my LinkedIn, Thomas, you'll see a very, very funny video of me where I am on the back of a mule during the Lost City trek because I got sick the very first night and then spent the next 3 days exceptionally dehydrated and whatnot. So Colombia, beautiful, beautiful country though. Love it there. So I definitely will probably be coming back someday. That being said, let's get to your question. So talking about the idea of essentially where you're at. So you have a new product that you have launched. With that new product as well, you are in a situation where your inventory is probably going to run out at some point in time. You wanted to do a low pricing strategy, it sounds like, but you are afraid of that stock and not being able to get the second stock in. So I'm assuming you purchased from China. What I would first and foremost do here, look to see if there's other countries that you can purchase from. It's unlikely, especially if you're doing a premium product like that, like a chair. I'm guessing it's probably like an electronic type chair or something. But that being said, it could be possible. So that's your first step and first priority at the end of the day is that. Secondarily, I would try and make sure you can recover as many profits on this as possible. This is unfortunately one of the aspects of doing business. You can't, always determine what the market is going to be, and you have to accept the risk of selling any product on any platform, right? Whether it's, on Amazon, Walmart, eBay, wherever you're selling it. So the very first thing that I would absolutely encourage you to do there, Thomas, is I would encourage you to go through and make sure that you can recover as much of those funds as possible. So at least your cost of goods, I should say. Now, secondarily, that when we're looking at those new manufacturing, there's going to be a couple of countries that are going to be kind of on your high list. Number one is going to be Vietnam, just because it's usually one of the better ones. So Vietnam is going to be number one. India, probably number two. Mexico, number three. You can look at Indonesia. That might be a little expensive as far as the idea of where you're going to be able to actually manufacture it. So that's the only issue I would say there. But those are going to be kind of your top four as far as that kind of product category goes as well. I would absolutely start looking there and see if you can expand. And secondarily, the very expensive products right now are probably going to be the ones that are hit the hardest by tariffs at the end of the day. That's just reality. I mean, if you have a expensive product of any kind, 100 essentially 54 or 155, I guess, 145% increase on overall cost of good is going to be crazy. So I'm assuming that $70 is without the tariffs, which, if it is, you're probably not going to be able to continue selling this product, unfortunately. And again, $70 is pretty expensive unless it's a very, very mechanically heavy type of product. So realistically, for your campaigns right now, how many campaigns should you launch with your product? Usually about 10 different campaigns. So you want auto campaign, you want a few exact campaigns on your top 15 or so keywords for relevancy while you're gold panning with that auto. You also want a competitor campaign. You want to have a phrase and broad match campaign as well. So those are kind of the primary starting areas, first of all, when it comes to your advertising. So unfortunate at the end of the day to hear that and hear that's kind of situation you're in, Thomas. No, it's not great to have this kind of stuff, but if you can find better manufacturing and better sourcing, I absolutely would. All right, we got Viper. Viper, glad to see you again. I know what my main image was made to be a little bit larger than what it was originally when I tried to upload it. Amazon gave me an image suppression saying there was text, logo, and graphic. Then what can I do to get around this? I've tried a lot of different things, but I need musical notes coming out of the product to show that it can play music. What can I do? So if you have something like that where you need to show that it can play music, there's a couple of ways you can go about it. The best way that I would say here, Viper, that you can kind of show this is to essentially attach product packaging in the back end. So literally make basically a fake box, make it as realistic as possible, and have the music notes on the actual box itself going up. That's going to be the best way you can kind of do something like that if you're getting hit with the idea that you're showing different graphics on the main image. So you need to do that first and foremost. You can also always, of course, appeal these, right? So try and appeal the image suppression for that specific reason. But yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to get a main image hack with that type of situation. So just have your product essentially in the foreground, box in the background, have those music notes perfectly on the box where it shows from the product. And then secondarily, add that, text onto the box. And, if you've already tried that, let me know. If you want to shoot over the ASIN or shoot over any of the images, I can give you a couple kind of key pointers on what you should probably be looking at as far as that main image hack goes. We got Touchstone, 1 of 2. Our ASIN is indexed for some restricted MJ words, though we don't use them in the listings. And our auto campaigns are converting well on many of them. When creating broad and exact campaigns, Amazon offers to include keywords that contain these restricted words. If you ever experience compliance problems with the listing or account when doing that, yeah, I have. So This happens really, really frequently on medical type products. It happens pretty often on supplements, things like that, where essentially you are allowed, obviously, because people are searching for these restricted keywords and there is search volume for them. So you are allowed to advertise against those keywords as well. The issue being is that once you get sales on them, you're going to start indexing on those, and then Amazon can get a bit of a background and say, hey, your search terms likely have these, etc. We're going to suppress your product because of them. See it all the time within the medical and the supplement space. So number one thing I would suggest in this scenario is make sure that you absolutely have never had that within your copy and in your search terms, because that's one of the things that Amazon can see. You can appeal these. One of the big areas that I typically see also kind of work, and I don't know why this works, but I will let you know if you are having this type of issue. Before you appeal, remove your A+ content from the actual listing. For some odd reason, A+ content all the time gets like false flags as far as these kind of suppressions when it comes to certain keywords, certain indexable and restricted words. So that's one of the major things that I would look at there. And then from there, do the appeal and show that you don't have any of that copy within your actual listing itself. Now, just because you are advertising restricted terms doesn't mean you're not allowed to do that, because it's not restricted from the advertising console and people are searching it and there is search volume for it. You just need to make sure that Amazon knows that your copy, your search terms, etc., are not including in that term itself. Hi, Noah. I'm dealing with a couple of 1- and 2-star reviews. There are no comments with them. It's a new business. I have rest all 5-star. How can I have Amazon remove them? You're awesome. So if it is a verified purchase review and it's 1 and 2 stars, there's not much you can do there, because it could be, for all you know, competitors are trying to take you down, which is a very shady tactic, but it happens. Now, if it's not a verified purchase, you can report those reviews as fraudulent to Amazon, and they usually will take care of them in some capacity. So those are kind of the only 2 ways that this happens. Unfortunately, there's not a ton you can do when it comes to reviews. Reviews are one of those areas that Amazon is very stingy with, especially when it comes to removing them. So you can only really ever report them. You can have other people report them as well. We're not even, people come to us all the time asking, hey, can you get these negative reviews removed? And the reality is, no, there's not many people out there who realistically can get all of your negative reviews removed for exactly that purpose, is that Amazon doesn't like doing that. So unfortunately, there's not a ton to do there, pure nature. But if it isn't a verified one, then the reporting function is going to work a lot better. If it's verified, it sounds like, people are just being, I don't know, D-holes. What is this music? It's so funny. Again, head over to myamazonguy.com/music. So we create an entire album, entire AI music generated album. Our guy internal, Stephen Bruning, he put it together. It's funny. The entire thing is really, really funny. And it's all about Amazon. It's about seller support. It's about selling on the platform. Go check it out. I think it's hilarious. We're about to order from Chinese manufacturer of supplement product, and they said that they will ship it using DDP service, and the cost of product is reasonable compared to US. Should I order? Yeah. So what are you going to do in the scenario of the tariffs, right? If you're ordering from a Chinese manufacturer, absolutely. First thing you should be doing right now is telling your manufacturer that you want everything shipped DDP. That is duties delivered paid. I think that's what it is. I'm trying to think. I think DDP is duties delivered paid. Yes, it is. Okay. So duties delivered paid is a program essentially that many manufacturers will work with, where essentially when they ship the goods, you pay for the cost of the goods and technically the duties up front. Now, a couple of things that are a bit tricky in this situation with DDP. Number one is the aspect that the tariffs could change at any point in time. This is both good and bad. Good because the aspect that you're paying DDP, so the actual onus is for the manufacturer to pay if the tariff changes and it's going to cost more. Now, it is bad because if the tariff changes and it's a ridiculous sum that your manufacturer does not want to pay, then your product just sits there and you cannot do anything about it and it will get tossed. So there's good and bad, right? When it comes to DDP, there is obviously the legal implications of it, but especially for something like a supplement. There's so many US manufacturers for supplements. It will be faster. It will be similarly priced. Realistically, right now, for supplements in general, they're like the number one category for US manufacturing, and that I would absolutely just get my product manufactured in the US. It's safer. You know that it's going to test well because they have to follow all laws and regulations. It's going to be similarly priced, at least in a bulk capacity, especially with the new tariffs. It's going to be faster from the aspect of when you're getting it manufactured to when it can actually go to a warehouse. And you're not going to have to pay for any real shipping costs outside of the actual shipping from manufacturer to FBA. So I would really do a calculation. If you're looking at saving like a couple $100 right now for Chinese manufacturing versus US, is it the difference between, one unit cost of goods is $1 in China and the US is $5? Or is it the difference between one cost of good in the US is $1 and it's $2 in the US? These are the type of things that I think about when I'm looking at, current situations, current worldviews, and how to move forward. If it's realistically going to be, something where even with the tariffs, you are only paying for US an extra 25%, let's say, for US manufacturing. US manufacturing might just be best for you, especially in the supplement game where it's just better all around. Now, that being said, again, if you really, really trust your manufacturer and you have a great, great relationship with them, and they will go through the DDP entirely and any additional fees that are on top of that in the future, if things change, go forward with it. Absolutely. Let's see. Touchstone. From what you see at MAG, are sellers holding back orders or plowing through? It depends on the seller, right? So supplement clients, like I was talking about, and medical clients, anything manufactured in the US, everyone's just plowing through. This means nothing to them, right? So we have tons of clients who are manufacturing in the US. Actually, a lot of our clients are manufacturing in the US, surprisingly. That being said, if it is somebody who is in China, some are canceling. They're, kind of shutting down shop as far as Amazon business goes. I've seen that with a couple of sellers. And then there are other ones who are moving their sourcing. So we're actually helping a lot of sellers with moving their sourcing, finding new manufacturers in other countries. I spoke with one last week who he and I had a very, very in-depth conversation about, where he has a very unique product. It's very difficult to make, and you can't make it in many places. He can't make his product in the US. There is literally zero manufacturing for his product in the US. He would have to redo all of the manufacturing. He would have to redo all of the lines, everything. He would have to get his own manufacturing line. He would then have to find sourcing for all the materials, etc. And it would realistically more than quadruple the actual cost of goods of his product. So he just can't do it in the US. Thankfully, we've kind of talked through it, and he's going to be moving to Vietnam. Now, the big thing with him is the idea that even that's still going to take time to get up and running, right? But Vietnam is pretty much the only other place outside of China that he can get his manufacturing. And this is realistically the big issue with tariffs at the end of the day, right? Is the aspect that not every product right now can be manufactured in the US. Not every product can be manufactured outside of China. So there's going to be a big overhaul, not just from the US manufacturing over the next probably, 6 months, 8 months, 2 years, who knows. There's also going to be a giant overhaul of other countries updating their manufacturing. Vietnam's going to be a huge one. India's going to be a huge one. Mexico's going to be a huge one. These are going to be countries that are also going to be investing heavily in trying to get new forms of manufacturing. The big issue is still going to come down to things such as raw materials and goods, right? For reference, China exports about 80% of the world's raw materials. So that's another thing to take into consideration at the end of the day, right? So no matter what we're seeing, I mean, a lot of our clients, like I said, are manufactured in the US, thankfully, but the ones that aren't, we're working through it. We have a couple of clients who are doing like paper products, for instance, and they're moving to Egypt, which apparently I didn't know. Egypt is a huge place to get paper products manufactured. So there's all sorts of different places. I think the cool thing about this is that we are opening up our eyes to more lanes of commerce, not keeping all of our eggs in one basket at the end of the day. The bad part being is that it's kind of being shoved down our throats and forced. That's the thing that I don't like, I suppose. If our product has low profit margins and we aim to lower the tacos, how should we approach this situation? So if you have low profit margins and you aim to lower the tacos, I mean, those things aren't one in one, right? You're literally essentially asking, hey, how do I keep profit margins while lowering my tacos? Well, you invest in organic SEO, right? And invest in the idea of essentially new keywords, new title, new bullet points, new copy overall on the listing to grow your organic ranking. The best thing to grow organic ranking is organic sales. Now, you can't immediately get organic sales, so you have to invest in advertising, but don't go after, and make sure you are very precise on your actual targeting of what you're trying to go after for your sales. If you have a low profit margin at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing in the world, but you have to understand that you have to move into a very organic sense when it comes to your product and your brand. If you're in a super highly competitive niche that pretty much everyone is investing very heavy amounts of ad dollars, it's very difficult to say, hey, I'm going to lower my tacos in a very short period of time. Realistically, I would create around a 6-month plan as to where you want your tacos to be in 6 months, and gradually get there over time by increasing very specific keywords ranking from both organic sense and sponsored sense and pulling back on them. How do you create a shipment in Seller Central when supplier is shipping DDP into FBA? One way is to use Amazon Global Logistics. So that's kind of one of the number one things. I actually have this idea right now, Touchstone, that Amazon is going to try and cut a deal at some point in time with the current administration where anything shipped via Amazon Global Logistics gets reduced tariff rates. I think that might be something that's coming up here, especially with Amazon sending out recent communications to sellers asking for their feedback on the tariffs. The only reason Amazon does anything and asks sellers anything is because they have something cooking in the background, right? And they are thinking about themselves first and foremost. They know that this is going to hit them hard, so they want to come and try and see what they can do. So I think Global Logistics might take a little bit of a big play here soon. That being said, to ship DDP into FBA, so supplier DDP is done through customs. Let's talk about that. But also you can do this through Global Logistics, just having that shipping lane. Your manufacturer has to be set up in that way with whoever they are shipping through. So that's the only thing to understand there, Touchstone. The big thing here is it has to go through customs with DDP. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Lots of thunder over here. Do I need to pay tariff later after the product arrives to USA port because of these changes? No. So you have to pay your tariff when the product arrives. I have heard rumors currently, though, of the aspect of some people are skirting through with tariffs just being unpaid and whatnot, because and being marked, fully paid, etc., because there is so much changing with the tariff situation that not everything has kind of gone from the top down as far as how they're actually doing the process, right? I mean, you can't just throw, this is why a lot of times in history, if there is a tariff, it usually has a period in which it will take effect. It's not a, hey, it's 1 p.m. in the afternoon and I'm going to raise tariffs. I mean, I think it was actually really funny. I think it was Treasury Secretary or someone on the administration who was in the middle of an interview when there was 54% tariffs and talking about them and everything. And one of the reporters who was asking a question had to be the one to inform them that Trump had just raised it to 125%, right? And so that's the type of situation we have going on where there's someone making decisions and the people down at the very bottom, I mean, there's so many layers there that have to be updated at the end of the day. And so that's the type of thing that we're in where I've heard a lot of people are skirting through without having to pay the tariff. I've heard other people had to pay it literally within the hour that it was announced. All sorts of things happening. The reality is most tariffs have to be paid when they reach the actual customs, though. They cannot be entered until that tariff is paid. I am launching a grocery item next week. Shipping costs more than my product. There are not too many seller in the business, but the one there are big. What should be my launching strategy? Average PPC is $3. Okay, so you're in a what we'll call super niche category, right? You have essentially one competitor, not many others. Shipping, you're saying, is costing more than your product. Okay, so essentially your largest cost of good here is your shipping. You could try and get people to, pay for the shipping, but realistically, what I would do is I would just build this right into your price. That I would build right into your price. When launching here, your goal at the end of the day is just take as much market share from that big fish as possible. So if your price is similar or if it's way too high compared to them, it's going to be hard to take market share. But you build into, why is your product better than theirs, right? Why would someone purchase yours when theirs is there as well? It's differentiation 101. Do you have better ingredients? Do you have better sourcing? Do you have better who knows what, right? These are all things to consider and things that you have to essentially put into your design, your branding, right? This is the why of your business. Why is somebody purchasing your product? Everyone understands what your product is, right? And how you're getting your product. Why are they buying the product? Figure that aspect out, pure nature, and that's how you will differentiate it from them. Maxathin, when the tariffs are paid, customs or when ordering? It's custom. So it's two ways, right? So if you do DDP, let's say, so if you're paying your manufacturer, if your manufacturer is shipping DDP, you were technically baking the cost of tariffs into your cost of goods, and you were paying that direct to your manufacturer. Now, if you're not doing DDP and you are just paying cost of goods and shipping with the manufacturer, then when it arrives at customs, the tariff is then having to be paid to make its way through customs to then go to the Amazon warehouse. I know many people who are looking at specific warehouses right now. So I'm trying to think of the name of that right now. I'm blanking. Bonded. That's the name of it. Okay. Bonded warehouses. So if you are someone who is having issues right now with your product about to land and you're uncertain of you're going to be able to pay for this, you're uncertain of being able to do price raises, there are certain things called bonded warehouses. Now, bonded warehouses are essentially warehouses at the custom border. And those warehouses are specifically for storing and keeping product prior to bringing it through customs. The purpose of doing something like this is so that you can order your product, have it manufactured, have it shipped here. It goes to a bonded warehouse. You can then take small quantities from that bonded warehouse, have that sent through customs, and that is what you will pay the tariff on. Bonded warehouses right now are about to be booming. So if you are interested in doing something like that, I would be looking into them right now. I don't have any major recommendations for them. I haven't personally used a bonded warehouse ever, actually, but it is something that I have talked about with some of our clients, some other brands, and I've talked to a couple of different warehouse suppliers who know quite a bit about them. So definitely something to look into if you are looking at potentially having some issues with the tariffs in general. So bonded warehouses are a potential option for you. Hold on, let's see. I lost my space. I gotta answer this. I want to chime in on Tariff Talk 2025. We're gonna bring John Aspinall on here at some point in time. Somebody get John Aspinall a link. Gil, can you send John a link via Slack, and I'll get him in here in just a minute. We'll get John Aspinall in here. He wants to talk about Tariff Talk. We'll get some extra opinions on it as well. Hello, given the tariff situation, why are very few sellers considering EU or UK markets? I don't think that's the case. I actually have been talking to a lot of people about expanding, and this is like the perfect opportunity to expand. If you are someone who, is looking at other alternatives to essentially make up the revenue you're afraid you're losing, doing EU and UK markets is a great option right now. Something that I've talked to a lot of different sellers about. Many people are using this as that opportunity. The issue being, I think, for a lot of people is that they know they're about to have cash flow impacted by their US tariffs. And so they're afraid of essentially investing in more inventory. And with this, the market in general is also going to go down. So UK and EU aren't going to be the best, but it's still something to hopefully make up some revenue. So I encourage it to anyone who is, looking into other alternatives right now. This is a great opportunity to be doing so. Mark, what's up, everyone? Hope we are all doing good. We're doing great, Mark. Thomas says, hope you enjoy your next time in Colombia. I mean, I enjoyed the first time, I will say. I didn't like being sick, but it makes for a great story at the end of the day, Thomas. So cannot complain to Let's see. Do you think India is an alternative to China in terms of manufacturing and sourcing products for Amazon sellers? Is India a possible alternative for China when it comes to sourcing? Yes and no. I think India is absolutely one of the top 5 choices when you are looking at a new manufacturing country for your products. That being said, India does not have all of the manufacturing power that China does. China's entire country has been built off of the idea of exports and manufacturing. That is the good that China has. So when looking at something like India, India has, yes, a lot of that similar manufacturing. It has a lot of that similar manpower at the end of the day, but it does not have the same ability, I think, in every single product category, especially when it comes to raw materials and goods. So that's one of the big things I would take into account when you are looking at a new country. Now, can you find a new manufacturing there that's going to be equal to, if not better than your Chinese manufacturer? Absolutely. But it's not necessarily going to be the case for every single seller across the board, but definitely in my top 5 as far as countries to be looking into if you are looking for a new manufacturer and sourcing partner. Aiden, continue to spend on highly relevant search terms despite poor ROAS and only ranking page 2, organic rank, or kill all that inefficient spend and move to DSP. Ooh, I'm going to say negatory. So Aiden, the big thing with DSP in this day and age, when it comes to utilizing it, right? So if you are having a lot of, if you're having bad ROAS on highly relevant search terms, doesn't necessarily mean it's because they're not highly relevant, I suppose, but it could just be the fact of how you're doing your placements. Now, if you're ranking page 2 organic, and you're trying to kill all inefficient spend, it depends how much you're spending. I don't encourage people who can put less than $5,000 into DSP from, like, including whatever their current ad budget is. So if you're spending $20,000 on ads right now, I want you to add an additional $5,000 just for DSP. Now, if you have over $5,000 of inefficient spend right now, I suppose it's a non-issue in that capacity. But be advised, DSP is not a immediate conversion driver, right? Can it be? Absolutely. We've brought some clients in where we've taken them from, a 4 ROAS all the way up to a 12 with DSP immediately, right? That was probably super loud for you guys, but it's not always the case at the end of the day. I'm going to, give me one sec here, guys. I'm going to copy this, send this over. There we go. All right, Mark. Do you know of a good country to source for fragrance-based products? I don't. So Steven actually just put together a whole list on this, actually. So let me pull this up. Maybe he has that on there. If you haven't looked already, we're putting all sorts of stuff on the tariffs out, trying to help out sellers any way we can. Because, we want to be the most seller-centric company out there. So let's take a look here for you, Mark, and see if there is a good list or a good place. I'm not seeing fragrances on here. Yeah, I'm not seeing fragrances, unfortunately. Let me dig into it, Mark. I'd be happy to look through a couple of places. Realistically, fragrances, actually, you might be able to do in the US pretty easily. It really will depend, though, on what the so if you're talking fragrance-based products, are you talking ones that are, well, let's see here. Yeah, I'm not seeing fragrance on this list. Textiles. Oh. Yeah, I'm not seeing fragrance, but that being said, the US actually probably isn't that bad of one because, again, fragrance might be similar in sense, Mark, to the idea of doing something like supplements, like the idea of pharmaceuticals, anything like that. So if you are kind of interested, I would honestly look at the US. Let's see here. Jennifer, please cover the changes to de minimis shipments. No option to source elsewhere yet as metal dyes are involved. Cost $250 each, and China has over 2K of them created from our designs for our products. Yeah, so de minimis, for those that don't know, and now let's pull up the exact thing here so we can kind of talk about it. And I will share my screen. Here we go. All right. So for those that are uninitiated, de minimis loophole. It's a trade loophole that has been used by companies like Temu. It's been used by companies like Shein, not Wayfair. What's the other one? There's a bunch of different companies essentially that have used this loophole. What is the loophole? Essentially, it's this idea that you don't have to pay tariffs on small packages shipped to the U.S. That are less than $800, and they are essentially qualify to be duty free. Is the big idea behind de minimis. Now, that being said, we are looking at essentially a May 2nd area. So the personal postal fee of each item is $100 starting May 2nd, $200 after May 1st. Get out of here, Investopedia. This is going to be big, right? For a lot of different ways. It essentially destroys all Chinese sellers for Temu, destroys all Chinese sellers for Shein. It destroys Amazon Haul as well. So all of those are areas where a lot of times, if you ever see that whole 15-day shipment type thing, this is the reason they can do that, right? It's because they can do, 1,000 shipments that are all under, $50, and they get over this. Now, that being said, the policy change is essentially making it so that you can't ship small. What I would say in your case, Jennifer, is the idea of as long as you are shipping over that allotment, over the normal de minimis loophole exemption allotment, which if you're buying in bulk at any point in time, you realistically should be, then you'll be fine. I mean, nothing changes at the end of the day, right? If you weren't beforehand, then we're up in the air. Now, when it comes to metal dies, that's the one thing that the US actually is fairly decent at. I would honestly look to see if you can get it from like a custom manufacturer here and see if you can build that out. I actually have a friend just 20 minutes south of me. He works for a metal die shop and whatnot, and they do custom orders all the time. So I can actually even give you that contact if you'd like to, Jennifer. So just reach out to me on that. Dude, where is this guy? We invited him and he's just like, yeah, nah, $2. I say I want to chime in, and now he doesn't want to chime in. Whatever. The Trump administration has put a 245% tariff on China. Is it possible to source products from China and make a profit? I've heard about this idea that it raised to 245%. I haven't actually seen anything substantiate on that. See, so there's like a couple of articles that I've seen, like, here it is. Like Newsweek posted this, China faces 245% Trump tariff. But if you actually read the article, there's no substantiation against that claim. On needles and syringes. So it's 245% on needles, syringes, right? So it's like very specific. This is the thing that I think people are not understanding about tariffs, is that there is a difference between a tariff and the duty charged at time of shipment. The reason that some categories are seeing such a hike is because we are basically doing a flat tariff across the board. So there is a flat 125% tariff that has been added for all products coming from China. Now, there was already a 20% tariff on China. So we are now at 145% tariff total. That being said, there are also specific duties for specific categories and specific types of products. And those duties can add upwards of 100%. This is where some people are getting that 245%. It is not across the board. It is very category specific. Is it sucking for some people? Absolutely. Yeah, that is daunting to know that whatever your manufactured cost is somewhere, you're essentially paying, 2.5x that cost just to be able to actually receive the product as well. So that's daunting for some products, right? So that's the big thing to understand with 245%. Is it possible to make profit? Absolutely. Just depends on what your product is at the end of the day and how much you're selling it for. Sweet Bee Magic. Hi, Noah. Are you seeing any changes in customer searches on Amazon to include phrases like made in America or the like? Yes and no. So I'll add this little guy in here. How's it going, sir? Yes and no. So I have seen some people are starting to literally add in like to their title, the not made in China to their title. And I think that's dumb. At the end of the day, end consumer customers, do they sometimes care about made in America? Sure. But do they care more about that than they do about the actual total cost of an item and, you know, what it's going to do as far as utility? No, the end consumer cares about, you know, how much they're paying for the product, and they're not going to pay 100% more for a product just because somebody's saying it's not made in China at the end of the day. So have I seen the increase in people searching for that? I don't think so. I mean, maybe a tiny bump, but yeah. Mr. Aspinall, how you doing?
Hey, pal. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're digging in. We're doing tariff talk today. We're just grinding them out.
I had to jump in. I had to pay $2 to get my voice heard on a super sticker.
Yeah, there were a lot of people in front of you, and I didn't even notice that for still like another 5-10 minutes after you did.
Yeah, so good job, YouTube, on the acknowledging of the super sticker. No, dude, I had to chime in about the tariff thing because you had pinged me this morning and asked me, you know, if it's affecting
That's why
me.
I asked.
And it's really not, because I would say 50% of the people I work with are made in the US, because it's supplements, consumables, things that are inherently not going to be direct from China or any place else, right? For the most part. The other 50% are making monster margins where it doesn't affect them. So, and it's low ticket items, right? That are, they're not the Me Too products. The Me Too products, the Me Too products and the very expensive and heavy products from China are the ones that are really suffering right now.
No, absolutely. And it's actually funny. And one of the reasons I also asked it, so my Amazon guy went through our longest time without bringing in a new client. We went 10 days without getting a new client, and 90% of the people were saying tariff this, tariff that. Now, but the people that once we finally did start bringing in, and now we're back to consistency, it's supplements, it's beauty, it's people with extremely high margins, it's those that are already doing, you know, 6 figures a month. It's those that had been ahead of a situation like this long before this situation ever came about. And that's the type of thing that I think is so interesting with so many people being affected. And where earlier I was talking about the idea of exactly that, supplements are laughing their way to the bank right now for the simple fact that that's the, you know, most US manufactured type of product. And he looks like he's frozen. Is your internet cutting out today?
I'm here. Don't worry. My internet got tariffed. I don't even know, but I have to switch back and forth with my hotspot. No, but honestly, you know what the real thing is that people are complaining about right now is that made in the US products, yes, they're rocking and they're not caring about the tariffs, but the packaging that they're putting the made in the USA product is coming from China. So you are seeing people complain about, oh, my 50-cent container is now $2. And I kind of don't feel bad.
That's the thing that I find so interesting. The people that are most affected by this are not people whose cost of goods is $1, right? Like if your cost of good goes from $1 to $2.50, that's, yes, a huge substantial jump, but your overall market is not that affected at the end of the day. It's the guy earlier who's selling, you know, chairs that his cost of goods is $70. And now it's going to raise to, you know, $200, right? And that's who is getting hit the hardest. I also like Steven must be watching and puts in Mexico is overrated. Not enough cost savings, and tariffs bad too.
The thing is, I find it really mind-boggling, the folks that go out there and create brands on Amazon 2025, 2024, that are heavy products and expensive high ticket products from overseas. There's a lot of gurus out there that are like, oh, let me show you how to get your first $100,000 on Amazon. Let me show you how to find products.
High ticket sales.
Everyone I talk to, I say, listen, Amazon storage fees, cost, time that's spent on ocean freight is insane. Time is money. So I actually talked to someone yesterday. No, not yesterday. I'm lying. Last week, I was on vacation. It wasn't really a vacation. It was horrible. Last week, about what should I source from China? Even with the tariffs, I want to do, I think it was an electrical whisk, which is insane to even sell. But I said, no, how about this? And I showed them a product. And if anyone's watching this and want to steal a great cheap product from China, even if it's 500% tariffs, you can do this. It's credit and debit card skins. I'm telling you, you can source them from China at 10 to 15 cents for a 3-pack. If you run, they can make it 1,000% tariff. It's not going to matter at all, because when you turn around and you sell those for $8 or $9 for a 3-pack, yes, it's a volume-based play, not a margin-based play. But if you're paying 10 to 15 cents for a 3-pack, you're selling it for $9, and it's literally 2 ounces, you can air over, not ocean over, 5,000 units. And it's not even, it's going to come in a box this big. I tell people all the time, small, light, cheap. That's how you move. It's a volume-based game right now, not a margin-based. Everyone wants the sexy, I want to sell this highfalutin $100, $200 electronic device that's super innovative and technical. First of all, those are boomerang products. If it's anything with Bluetooth, it's going to get horrible feedback, or it's going to get returned immensely. So that's why I tell people, not electronic, small, light, and cheap. It doesn't matter. For 15 cents skin, they can make it 1,000% tariff. People need to be smarter about what they're sourcing.
It's funny because, I mean, I've worked with a seller in the past who is doing about $2 million a year. The thing is, though, that the product that he sold was $1,700 per product, right? So he's only realistically selling a little over 1,000 units a year, right? But on that 1,000 units, he's still only making roughly 5%, right? So
why are you in business at that point? I mean,
exactly. He's not, it's like a side thing, and you're not bringing anything in. Meanwhile, if you're doing $2 million a year on a product that, you know, you source for 25 cents and you sell it for $20, that's huge margins, right? So it's all the same.
But that's the thing I tell people, it doesn't matter. Like if you could buy something for under 50 cents, and even if you only make a $3 profit at the end of the day per unit, you're crushing it, because all you're doing is taking it and sending it to FBA. You're doing nothing. Yes, there's ad spend. Yes, there's this. Yes, there's that. But you're doing nothing, and it's completely volume based. And when you need to get more and you air it over, think about what happens if you have a $20 electronic gadget and it weighs, 8 ounces to 12 ounces, and you have to get 1,000 more units. That's a half a container. That's a quarter of a container. That's going to take 6 to 8 weeks. That's going to go through customs. That's going to get locked up in customs. That's going to get when you share a container with someone else, and you don't know what you don't know if they're bootleg Sanrio products or bootleg Louis Vuitton.
Never share a container.
and then when it gets locked up in customs because of them and not because of you, and then you're screwed, right? So I think people just need to stop listening to these gurus that says high ticket items, high ticket this, innovate the new thing here. No, my thing is, go for the credit card, debit card skins, make it super compelling, stay with the trends, because you can pivot. You can be like, oh my God, this is a new meme yesterday. Back when Kermit the Frog was sipping tea years ago, and that was the new big meme, you would crush it on Amazon right now selling that as a credit card skin.
High ticket stuff is always so funny to me, just for the simple reason that it's like, all of those guys are always just like, oh, I made $100,000 in 30 days on Amazon. And it's like, but then you get down to the math, and it's like, yeah, they're selling $1,000 product, or a $500 product, and they sell whatever it is, 2,000 units of it, and they're pumping ad spend into it, and they have a 1.5% margin at the end of it, and it's like they made $1,000 off that 100,000. It just doesn't make sense when volume is just such an easier game. We gotta get to questions, so we got more in the chat. My second question is about Amazon Creator Connections. Is it possible to offer higher percentage for influencers? And how can I maximize number of sales through save and subscribe from these influencers? Yes, you can offer a higher percentage. I always start typically around 15% with Career Connections in general. Influencer referrals in general should always be around that 15% threshold as kind of your starter. The big thing that I always recommend people to do is max your budget. Literally just put your budget at $10 billion, because it does not matter. And it gets you to the top of the list for people to actually review and look at your product. So That's the only thing. As far as maximizing subscribe and save, just use Amazon's automatic 5% and double it up on that. How would the tariffs affect American sellers sourcing from China differently than direct sellers from China? Ooh, this is actually a good question. So my take on this is that it's not going to change all too much on them. The big aspect is that a lot of times American sellers are buying products from manufacturers for more expensive than Chinese sellers are. That's the big issue. So you look at current Chinese sellers, they're willing to sell their products basically at a loss almost. And that's because they can run off of way less margin and they can buy their product and have it manufactured for way cheaper because they're a Chinese seller or they are the manufacturer of the product themselves. So that is still going to reign true. The tariff situation is going to, in my opinion, maybe even just exacerbate that a little bit in the sense of, the U.S. manufacturer, even if you're having your manufacturer send it to, DDP, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So I think that's my one worry with the tariffs is that we're going to see an exacerbation of that. But at the same time, as we talked about de minimis just a little while ago, loophole closing, that's going to get rid of a lot of the junk, I think, at the end of the day, especially when people are sending, 20, 30, 40 packages at once within that. But what do you think, John?
I don't want that loophole closed. I want to order from China my fake Nikes.
You want your Temu? You want your Temu Nikes?
Well, you want some fake stuff? Oh, my cat is not a fan of tariffs. I got to hop, but I want to say one last thing before I run. Thanks for having me on. Really powerful, little bit of a plug. With tariffs, run a PICFU, and I'll tell you why. Run a PICFU just to see if people are willing to pay more for your product. Should you have to increase your product cost because of tariffs compared to the competition to recoup that? Run the PICFU and see if people are willing to pay more for price parity and price comparison, stuff like that. That's something very, very interesting because sometimes you think it's got to be a race to the bottom, but if you have a compelling image and you have really interesting things and it's an interesting way to put it, or in your title, your keywords and stuff like that, it's not always based on price, it's based on value prop. So if you're showing enough value, don't let the pricing fool you. You may be able to charge more. There go all the affiliate links over there. Click them. And if you want to run a PICFUroni and cheese and you're not a PICFU person right now, just let Noah know, and he can reach out to me, and I'll give you some free PICFU credits.
Yeah, there you go. I used your plug as a chance to plug us in our PICFU link. So there you go.
Good seeing you, pal. Gotta hop.
Absolutely. Thanks, John. Fantastic, everybody. All right, so that was John. Many of you know Mr. Aspinall, but nonetheless. Sweet V Magic. Also, do you think that Amazon will create some sort of way to highlight American-made products on the platform, or opposite, help China-made products on Amazon by doing something special for them? Yes. So again, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but the reason Amazon is sending out the questionnaire to some sellers around the idea of tariffs, right, and how it's going to affect them, what they think is because Amazon themselves is worried. Now, my thought here is that I think Amazon's going to try and cut a deal. We saw NVIDIA cut a deal. We saw some other people cut a deal as far as getting their products in with exemptions to the tariffs. I think Amazon might try and cut some kind of deal as well, where the only feasible thing I can think is potentially maybe doing it through Amazon Global Logistics only, right? So if something comes through Amazon Global Logistics, you get reduced tariff costs. That's the only thing I can think. But at the same time, knowing that the point of the tariffs is to try and bring manufacturing back to the US, which is going to take 2 years minimum, if not longer, for us to be able to do it. In some industries, you literally just can't do it. I don't see it happening anytime soon. So all of this is a big gamble. The biggest thing here that I think everyone is learning today is that nobody has the direct answer, right? Nobody has the knowledge of what's going to bring tomorrow, what is going to bring, 30 days, but we all can make our best guesstimations based on historical trends. And, we're always going to try and push for whatever the best option is. So realistically speaking, do I think that Amazon's going to create some way to highlight American-made products on the platform? Well, they already do. So you can get that badge. You can get the Made in America badge on your platform right now. Do I think that they're going to help China-made products on Amazon by doing something special for them? No, I don't think that. I don't think any of that. The only thing I do think is, again, the idea that potentially Amazon Global Logistics gets a little cheaper. But at the end of the day, Amazon doesn't care about sellers, and they only care about the consumers, and that's why they're asking the question. Not because they care about you as the seller, because they care that you're going to raise the price and make Amazon a bad platform for consumers. I forgot to tell you that the COGS is 70. My target price is 189 to 199. Yeah, ooh, that's still rough, Thomas, at the end of the day. I think everything I kind of said beforehand stays true, but that's still pretty rough as far as pricing goes, especially the cost. What are the exact steps to reduce tacos from a PPC perspective? How do you utilize the search query performance report, and which keywords do you focus on to build organic ranking? Okay, so first and foremost, self-plug. Check out our 5-day challenge series. I'll have Gil put a link down here in the description or something. Check that out. Go sign up for that. Day 1 was PPC. I talk about exactly this, especially the idea. Well, actually, day 2 was SEO, which I talk about search query performance report. But day 1 was PPC. Mix both those together. Watch both those. It will give you a ton of information on this. Now, the big aspect that I will say as far as building your organic ranking, we have a picture. I guess I can pull up here. Let me see. Let's see if I can. Here we go. SEO Factors 2025. Let me share my screen here. Stop screen, present, share, window this. We have this. So we post this every single year. You guys, I don't know if you can really see it or not. But here is what is really kind of your SEO factors. So you have organic sales being the number 1. Click-through rate number 2, conversion rate number 3, and then PPC sales number 4. I couldn't say that for some reason. All of these are factors for SEO. So I would just look at this and try and memorize this. We have this on our website as well. When you're looking at increasing or reducing tacos, you essentially have to increase your organic sales. The only way you can increase your organic sales is increasing your organic ranking through things like improving your click-through rate and your conversion rate, as well as, yes, you can kind of skip the line with PPC sales at the end of the day, but that doesn't help reduce your tacos. So that's the big thing. It just comes down to ranking, and sales velocity is the big aspects. We got Garbage. Do you think it would be against Amazon terms of service if I claim that my products are tariff-free? My products are 100% American manufactured. No, technically not. But my question to you is, what is that going to do for you? Is that going to help conversion? Probably not, right? Is it going to make you a target for your competitors? Probably. Is it going to make people question, why it is your product is priced at a certain price? Maybe. The thing is, at the end of the day, you don't have to say tariff free. You don't have to claim that in your product. All you have to do is put a little Made in America badge onto your design. That's all you have to do, right? That will tell everything you need to. But claiming you're tariff free, claiming that you're, not made in China, those things aren't going to help you as much as I think people think they will. A little Made in America badge, that's about the extent of helping with your conversion as anything will be. Anything you put in your copy like that, it's not going to help you. The badge is the best part. You can also, like I said, if you're a small business, US business, you can get that little indicator badge as well. But anything past that is realistically not going to help you. Do you have experience with brands expanding into EU or UK? If so, what are some common mistakes? Yeah, we absolutely. So we've helped hundreds of brands expand into EU and UK. So common mistakes, not knowing how to get your VAT code, not knowing about responsible person and needing one of those, setting up the UK and EU accounts as their own standalones instead of going through Amazon Global. So go through Amazon Global, make sure you have a responsible person, make sure you have a VAT code. It's not all that difficult at the end of the day. Do you think tariffs are going to make Amazon lower fees for sellers? I don't mean to laugh at you, Yesel. That's just a hilarious idea of Amazon lowering fees for sellers. Are the tariffs going to make Amazon lower fees for sellers? No, absolutely not. Amazon does not care about sellers at the end of the day. I cannot make that more clear. Amazon is the most customer-centric company in the world. They do not care about sellers. They have never cared about sellers at the end of the day. They would not raise fees nearly as often as they did if they cared about sellers. They are well within the profit with sellers right now, and especially advertising. Advertising carries the entire platform. They could likely get rid of every single other fee on the platform, and advertising could still probably carry them. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's positive, but no, I don't think that they're going to lower fees ever. So they may pause increasing fees. They may try and give more incentives in some way, shape, or form, but they're never going to lower fees. The only time I think I've ever seen them lower fees is when they lower one fee so that they can raise another fee. So such as like deals and promotions. But outside of that, no. Is it necessary to run sponsored products, sponsored brand, sponsored display for one item? I mean, not necessary, but yes, I encourage it. So if the additional tariff on China goes and there is a deal, how much impact the current 10% tariff it going to have? What do you mean by impact as far as the current 10%? I mean, so the big thing to understand is that there was already a 20% tariff on China. We have increased that with an additional 125% on top of it. So essentially we are at 145%. They could increase that again and add another one on top. And then on top of that, specific categories have certain duties that they have to pay. That's kind of what thing. How much impact does the additional 10% have? No, it just would stack on top, essentially. So the 10% is just everyone else. If you're not China, you get 10%. That's it. I'm in the UK. No tariffs here. Lucky you. Lucky you, buddy. I am. Happy Friday. Glad to see you, sir. Hope everything's going well with you. Touchstone. Touchstone, did you somehow change your profile picture in between asking questions or something? Okay, follow up on restricted MJ keywords. If one of our sellers runs ads on our listings using a restricted keyword, this could also impact our listing, though we don't have these restricted keywords in our copy. Yes. No, sorry, that's wrong. So if one of your if your reseller is running ads using the restricted keywords, no, technically not. So resellers are their own. It could in theory, but realistically, no. Ads are going to be for specific product, right? So it's not going to, again, have any less or more of an impact than like if you did, right? That's the big aspect to understand, is that your indexing and your rankability for that coming from those PPC sales will be consistent regardless. So it could just be that someone looks up a restricted keyword, you are indexed for that restricted keyword, they find your product, they purchase your product. It doesn't have to be through advertising even. It can be organically, even if you don't have it in your copy or your search terms. I need to get some chapstick here. Pro Hall, since there are less products coming from China, will that lower PPC costs? Less competition means less demand on keywords. Yeah, small positive, I suppose. Realistically, I don't think it's going to have a huge impact at the end of the day. I mean, the amount of people that would have to stop being sellers entirely and stop advertising entirely would have to be quite substantial for PPC costs in general to go down. The only thing I will add on to that, though, is that the first thing typically in a recession or anything like that people cut is marketing expenses, right? So if you are having a harder time, you typically cut back on your marketing. So it's a big thing, but Amazon's kind of reliant on marketing in this day and age. So it's going to be a fine balance. I wouldn't suspect it'll have a huge impact, though. That is an interesting take for me. Going for volume proven products rather than innovative higher priced products. Usually I've heard go for innovation and high ticket. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same ranks as Aspinall in this, but also I will say the only exception to this is if you have a innovative product, right? So what you're kind of talking about, but more so what Aspinall is saying is don't go for the super just generic electronic product, etc. Innovation is the keyword there. So differentiation and innovation is the keyword that you're looking for when it comes to those high tickets. Volume play, though, will always just be there. It doesn't matter if you don't have much differentiation. You can do a volume play if you have the margins for it. But if you have, yes, an innovative product, you can go higher ticket. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Is there a way to A/B test pricing on Amazon? Yeah. Do one price and then see how it goes, and then do another price and see how it goes and what changes. That was a bit of a mean response, but there's not like if you're asking like if there's an A/B test similar to like the title and stuff like that, no. What can I do right now as an American manufacturer and Amazon seller to capitalize on this situation? if you can, lower your price. Everyone else is going to be raising your price. Lower it. Keep your deals going. Don't do anything different. The biggest thing is this is not going to be an overnight success for you, right? This is going to be a overtime success as you, as an American manufacturer and seller, are going to slowly see benefits coming your way because all of your competitors who are not are going to be raising their prices and cutting back on their ad spend. That's how you capitalize. This is not I'm going to suddenly become number one overnight. It's I'm going to slowly take entire market share because I'm going to be cheaper. I'm going to be faster. That's exactly what you're going to need to be able to do. And that's what's going to happen slowly over time. Yeah, we've been using Made in America branding since 1997. Love that. My FF tells me that by DDP, it only impacts price increase and shipping. Supplier confirms it, so I'm so confused. No, so DDP can be changed based on the manufacturer, right? So just duties delivered paid, right? Or delivered duties paid, whatever it is going to be different. It doesn't always mean the exact same thing based on manufacturer, but typically speaking, it can be the duty is paid, the tariff is paid, the shipping is paid, the product cost is paid, but you pay all of that up front. It increases your price, yes, of course. But honestly, this is the best time for anyone who has a product made in China. Negotiate the cost of your goods. Negotiate them right now. There is nothing better to do than if you already know that you're looking for other sourcing outside of China, talk to your Chinese manufacturer and negotiate the cost of what you are paying for goods. Can they lower it by what 145% increase would be? Maybe. You won't know unless you ask. I mean, this is type thing. This is how business works, right? Something comes up. Hey, I'm either going to stop using you and use someone else, or we can cut a deal that makes sense for both of us. That's where things like DDP come from. Can we change main image without changing the packaging? Yes. I don't know why that would. I don't know why that would be a question. Is it better to start selling on Amazon with the brand registry on day one, or is it it's okay to have it later? I personally would say always have your brand registry done beforehand. You'll save so many problems, so many problems. And it takes like a day, right? It takes literally like a day to get your brand registry or your trademark at the very least. I get Amazon badge now, and then, however, my friend went to my listing and it didn't show Amazon choice. So I'm curious to know, does it give Amazon choice only for those that have frequented my listing? When and to whom does the Amazon choice badge show to? I also got overall pick badge, but same thing. She didn't see it. Does she not have Prime? Because that would make a lot of sense if she doesn't have Prime. The badges, I don't believe, show up all the time if you're not a Prime user. It would also depend as well where they live. I mean, do they live next to you? Do they live somewhere far away? These things also matter. Amazon will probably raise fees to offset the tariffs. They will be paying like they did when fuel prices spiked. Yeah, I mean, yeah, unfortunately, they might honestly raise costs for us rather than trying to work with sellers, and that's going to suck. I get the fact that PPCs are auction-based, but what prevents from Amazon automation price setter to inflate price for sellers? Would Amazon face consequences for falsely inflating PPC via auto bidding? What stops them? Really nothing. I mean, honestly, the big thing to understand is that there's no gain there at the end of the day. So it's market conditions, right? Nobody's going to pay too much for something, essentially. Could it be auto inflated in some capacity? Sure. But other sellers could also be auto inflating it in some capacity with AI bidding and whatnot on their advertising. So what's stopping it? Nothing. I mean, you don't know. We don't know, right? But we just have to trust that that's not happening. I find that it's hard to negotiate with suppliers, though this may be a skill issue on my end. I like that you at least recognize that. Is there certain MOQs where negotiating becomes more feasible? Typically speaking, yeah. So whatever the max kind of, if you're at like a minimum MOQ, it's very difficult. So if they have, let's say 1,000 as their MOQ, It's very difficult if that's what you're purchasing. But if you're at, let's say 10,000, that's 10x their MOQ. That's a lot easier, right? Because you're a bigger fish in the pond. And how often are you pushing through that MOQ? How long does it take them to manufacture, right? Are you going to be taking away a fraction of their business if you go to somebody else? Or are you going to be taking away, 2-3 months worth of their business if you go to somebody else? Those are the things that you need to understand and consider when you're kind of doing negotiations. That being said, you can only negotiate so much at the end of the day. And you can only, if you're not good at it, that's fine. You don't have to be good at negotiating. I would just look for other people, right? And there's also, I will say, services that will do negotiating for you, which I would look into, honestly. Give some likes to Noah, please. Yeah, give me some likes, guys. Come on. When do you determine when to switch out keywords for indexing purposes, and how do you know which keywords to remove? Do I keep the ones I'm indexing that have good search volume and keyword sales? Yeah, I like keeping those, but realistically, you're kind of asking about the differentiation between our phase 3 and phase 4. So I would just do that. So go through our phase 3. If you go to myamazonguy.com/SEO, Roichi, we have all of our 4 phases right there. You can dig into each of them. My determination here, whenever you're looking at indexing, would be essentially to, yes, if you are getting good sales and you are continuously ranking on that and increasing your indexing and ranking on that keyword, don't remove it just yet, because that means that you're going to continue rising, and you want that at the end of the day. So that's kind of the, I guess, baseline is, yes, if sales are happening, you're good. Overall, or replace those, since I'm already indexing, wanting to index on new keywords with good search volume and keyword sales. I don't want to lose indexing on keywords I've replaced over time, or do I just occasionally swap out every several months? Once per month, do swaps. I'm hoping to capitalize on this during Prime Day. Yeah, honestly, this might be a big Prime Day for people. Suppliers have been raising product prices, which makes no sense to me, especially with their situation. Any reason why? How could that help them? So I've seen this a couple of times. People are talking about their suppliers raising prices, and it could have to do, honestly, with just trying to capitalize, knowing that they're going to switch over. People are going to ask for something like DDP, right? So this is I guess, a mind game, so to speak, where they're like, hey, we got to raise prices on you. We've kind of been cutting you a deal this whole time, but hey, we're going to throw DDP in here. And they end up laughing their way to the bank. So it's still, if they're raising prices, find a new supplier, right? You can always go to different people. I joined recently. Could you please explain how much the tariff affects the cost? For example, if the production cost is $6 and shipping is $2 from China. Yeah. So your tariff is the addition to that. So you're going to have the tariff. Your tariffs are 145% right now. Across the board, doesn't matter what the product is, 104. Well, that's not true. Electronics, I think you get a reduction on, but 145% right now. On top of that, past just that 145% for the tariff, you are going to have, or I guess 125%, you're going to have an additional 20% that brings it to 145%. That 20% is the standard for China in general. On top of that, you're going to have your duties based on your category. That can be anywhere from 0 to 100+%. I think 100 is about the highest right now as far as duties go. And that is going to raise you potentially up to 245%. Some categories, I've seen people saying that they're having $10,000 worth of goods shipped from China, and they're thinking of abandoning their entire shipment because it's going to cost them $239,000 for $10,000 worth of goods. That is the impact that some of these tariffs have on sellers at the end of the day, just because of the duties they already had to pay, the additional tariff on top of that, and the overall cost with the shipping included. And that is going to be their cost, taking $10,000 worth of goods, and it's going to cost them $290,000. This is the impact that sellers are having from this, and it's going to continue. And I encourage anyone who has the ability and know-how to start looking elsewhere for sourcing, even in the US potentially, because it's just going to be cheaper. It will just be cheaper at the end of the day. We have a couple more questions here, guys, but I gotta get bouncing out of here. Let's see. Where are we at? I heard something about manufacturers take half of the tariff hit. Do you believe Chinese manufacturers not do anything? I think it all makes sense if we all negotiate. Yeah. So what that is again, Yesel, is like DDP, right? So sometimes the manufacturer will say, "Hey, I want you to keep working with me," right? And so because you're going to keep working with me, I will pay 50% of the new increased tariff cost, but I'm going to have to add that as an addition to the cost of goods, but I'll send this DDP. So that's how they're essentially going about it, is they're trying to keep you as a customer by saying, "Hey, we'll cover half, right? We'll cover half DDP." And I get it. You know, if you're a manufacturer in China, you're probably also worried that you're about to lose all of your US business, which is a lot of their business. That's the point. That is the point of this, is people are moving away. That's a big thing to understand. What are your thoughts on Levanta for influencer marketing? I love them. Good guys over there at Levanta. I'm going to go to Misha. Roichi, for the She is Prime in another state, I can't tell you. Amazon gets to decide who does and who doesn't see the badges, unfortunately. There's not like a specific criteria here. I'm going to answer Misha, and then I got to hop out of there. Actually, Abe has a good one as well. I know my supplier offers DDP, and they underestimate the value of goods. See, this is what I was talking about earlier with the DDP. It comes up to $3 kilogram for freight, including tariffs. It seems too low because the product price is $8. Should I order? Okay, so this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier in the idea of only do DDP with manufacturers that you trust, because it is very, very likely possibility that manufacturers are going to say they will do DDP. And if a tariff increases, or if they don't cover a certain part of the DDP, there are problems. Now, the big part here, Misha, is you're saying $3 kilogram, price is $8. I'm a little iffy. Maybe they are actually only saying they'll pay 50% of it. Maybe they're saying they'll cover just the shipping costs, right? These are things to realistically you need to figure out from the manufacturer. You need to get a very firm, what is this? Do you trust the manufacturer? Can you get manufactured somewhere else? At the end of the day, that's the only way you can really negotiate this entire situation. I have Abe here, and then I'm gonna bounce on out here, guys. It's been a great show today, though. There's no option of manufacturing in USA most products. I tried that. Yeah, it is very very difficult to manufacture a lot of products. If you're a supplement product, if you're a medical product, oh, you're laughing on a beauty product, you're laughing your way to the bank right now, because you're probably already manufactured in the US and it's fantastic for you. Tariffs aren't going to do anything. But if you are not one of those, you're probably having a bit of a hard time right now. And it is going to be quite rough for the next couple of months. So it's very unfortunate, but we will make it through. So without further ado, oh, that's not what I want to show. There we go. We are My Amazon Guy. We are a full service Amazon agency. If you are curious about any Amazon services, go check out our site. We have tons. We just added a bunch of new coaches to our coaching page as well as consulting packages to talk about things like tariffs and whatnot. So if you are wanting some help with sourcing, or just kind of how to essentially move your business in the future, go and book a coaching call, book a consulting package with us. We can walk you through everything. So all that being said, again, my name is Noah Wickham. I'm sales director here at My Amazon Guy. I will be back next Friday as well. I am going to be releasing a bunch of videos on tariffs next week. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check me out on LinkedIn. I am just Noah Wickham on LinkedIn. Pretty easy to find. E-commerce trailblazer. And yeah, from there, hope everyone has a great weekend, great week ahead. And I will see you guys here soon. See everybody.